All right, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so glad you came to join us, and I really do hope you find it to be a good use of your time. If you've been here before, of course, welcome back. We love seeing you here. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the description, um, and you can schedule a discovery meeting or anything like that, any handouts that we have. And if this kind of legal technology is helpful, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on legal technology talk. All right, Beth, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, so we're going to do kind of this in two parts. I'm going to go through this and show you some things, and then give you a little demonstration of the new things that Lawmatics has added this week. Okay, so first, we all have that client. So you know the one. The file sits on your desk for 3 weeks because they haven't signed the form, or they email you at 11:30 at night asking why their case hasn't moved forward, even though they haven't sent you the documents you requested a month ago. So we tend to label them like lazy or difficult, and we spend our precious time trying to fix them. We nag, we call, we send emails, we send text. But today I'm telling you to stop that. The thesis of this session is simple. Stop trying to fix the client, but build systems that succeed despite them. Well, why do they do it? That's really what it comes down to, is we really need to see why they do that. It's rarely malice. It's not that they want to be trouble and they don't want to do it and they are truly lazy. But it's generally one of three things. Cognitive overload. So clients are overwhelmed. You're sending them a 12-page welcome packet. They see that and their brain shuts down. It's overwhelming. They don't know. They have a whole, you've given them a list of things to do, and they're just completely overwhelmed by that. Um, Two is the lack of urgency. Um, their life's chaotic. Their legal matter is important to you and to them, but it's one of just 50 things on their plate today. And it's just not real high priority for them, and it's too much for them. So it's all that overload, and they're not really concerned about it. And then there's friction. So we ask them to print, sign, scan, email. It's a 5-step barrier to entry. If a client doesn't know how to merge a PDF, they aren't lazy, they're stuck. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to print that out, sign it, scan it, send it back to you. And they don't want to figure out how to do it. It needs to be very, very easy for them. So how do we build around them? Well, one, intake. Stop the everything at once approach. Do you really need their mailing address, their life story, and their blood type on the first phone call? And yeah, blood type I threw in there because, sometimes it seems like some of the questions we ask are just that silly. Um, get the basics, get the file open, keep them moving, get the information that you really, really need from them in the beginning. You don't need to know all the rest of the stuff. And you can do things like, I hear this all the time. Well, we want to know if they're qualified. Yeah, then ask qualifying questions. Ask them, what is your approximate net worth? Not how many bank accounts you have, how many are in each, how many real estate options do you have? What are they worth? Like, don't get into that. Get the basics from them to keep them moving along. And then document collection. Kill that laundry list email. Instead of one giant request, send specific one-off task. Yes, you're going to need all of these things, but lay them out in a process for them to get them to you. Use automated, persistent reminders that nudge them for that. And always make it mobile first. If they can do it from the waiting room of a doctor's office on their phone, you got them. If they can't, you've lost them for a lot of clients. So here's the secret. Automate Automation is actually an act of empathy. When you stop sending two-page emails that bury the call to action at the very bottom, you're respecting their time. Nobody wants to read all of that anymore. Our whole life is changing with that. Um, and you really want to respect their time. When the system handles the nagging to them, you stop being the annoying lawyer and start being the advisor. Your automated follow-up shouldn't sound like a debt collector. It should sound like a helpful assistant checking in to see if they need a hand. If you want to be the one giving legal counsel, not the one chasing down the signatures for that, that's kind of where the system can come into place. Can lay out a process for them and be offering them a helping hand. So if they need to schedule a meeting, you're sending an email to them, and that email says, click here to schedule your meeting. And if you have any questions, feel free to call us, or you can call us and we'll schedule it for you. That is very, hey, we're here to help. Um, Not give us a call and we'll get that on the calendar for you. Then I need to make a time to call you. If I'm sitting in the dentist office, I can't go ahead and schedule my meeting. So that really plays into all of that to make that as easy as possible for the lazy client. So let's look at the metrics of all this. If you reduce the client's effort, you'll increase your response rate. So, instead of a manual process of, hey, did you see my last email? You use an automated loop for things. And for this, I am actually going to give you a demo of a proposal process in Lawmatics itself. So we're going to use this matter as a example, and we're going to start this out as a consultation form. So here we're going to say that sorry, wrong form. I've been playing this morning, so this form would be emailed to the person holding that consultation, and it would be like this. We're going to say I'm single for this one. It would give them all the information. And in the consultation outcome, then we also have a send proposal. What kind of proposal are we going to send? Well, we want to give them options. So we want to say, okay, we talked about doing a base will and an RLT for them. Those are the options that we discussed. We went through. They have their own set values for this. And we're going to say our attorney rates $25 an hour. And I'm just adding a note that I'm sending a proposal. Now, that can very easily do this. So in the matter itself, I submitted this form, and there's some things that are going to happen over in the other part of the world here. So I'm getting an email from them. And if we look at this, it'll update and send an automation for this. And it'll send this email. And this email will come with this proposal. And it'll lay out the options. Well, it would if I would click the right email. It would lay out the options of what they have for this and what we're doing for them. And in that email, let me open this up. They have a part here to sign and accept the proposal. The attachments there says what we talked about, gave them the options. They can then sign and accept it. Very easy to do. And with that, then they have, hold on,
Health
sorry.
and Estate Law, this is Kyla speaking. How can I help you?
Oh, then they have this, which is their approved proposal. And here's the plans. And it just says select the one you want. Well, we're gonna select a will plan. Yep, we're gonna go with that. And you can have it so that when they select it, it tells them things about it so they really know what they want to do. And they submit that form. When that form is then submitted, then when we go into here, this approved proposal one has been done. We've approved that proposal. And we are then going to send them automatically. It will send them automatically. Sorry, I got way too many screens going on here. Let me get this one out of the way. It will send them the proposal, or I'm sorry, the form to fill for their actual signing that agreement. And that goes off to them. And I'm waiting for it to come into my email over here. Sorry, I have a minute delay on this, and didn't think about not taking that out. Um, so yeah, give me 1 second till it comes in over here, guys. And what we're going to do then with that is it then sends them, here it is. Here is next step in setting up your estate plans here. Click here to complete. And they open the signature packet. In the signature packet, you can have this first part. I want you to verify this information is correct. Here's where you could ask them more information if you'd like to get that. And they submit that. When they submit that, it then prepares this engagement agreement. And they can sign it right here. And this is one of the things that's available in Lawmatics as well, the signature packet. So you can start this. Here's all this. Here's where we need to sign it. I can sign it. And there we go. And I'm going to put my date in that it's today. And yep, that's all good. I'm ready to submit it. I'm good. Submitting it. Now we can go to step 3, which is payment and scheduling. So here it is. This is your design meeting. You can schedule this at a time that works for you. You can put the design meeting on the schedule and they can choose that. They can schedule their sign meeting right away. For that, it tells them when they should be scheduling that and put that out there. And you can also have it that they make their first payment if that is your process. So right there, they can do all of this sitting in a doctor's office or on their couch at night. They can do all of this, and now they are completely into the process, and nobody internally needed to do anything. So this is one way that you can make it just as easy as possible for them. They're just getting spoon-fed what they need to do next. There's no, after you do this, call our office and we'll set up your meetings. There's none of that. There's none of, we're going to send you an invoice and you'll need to pay that. There's no following up on that invoice because they've already done it here. There's like all of those things that can fall into place and make this very, very easy for your lazy client. And that is what we're talking about, being able to do that. So you aren't just faster, you're less stress, and you've reclaimed those hours you used to spend chasing those ghost of clients. And also with that, it's made it easier on your client. So it's a lot easier for them to go in there and do that, and they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing next, and they don't need to worry about that. So the bottom line is this: you can't change human nature. You can't force a procrastinator to become a project manager, no matter how hard you try. But you can build an infrastructure that works for the human that you have, not the perfect organized client that you wish you had. So stop fighting your clients and start designing for them and making it easier for them that they can fall into your process and you can get what they need to them as they need it. John, do you have any comments on that before I go show the toys? You're muted.
No, I really love this topic because one of the biggest excuses that I used as a client service coordinator was the client's not getting back to me. The client isn't filling out their form. The client isn't that. And we learned when we worked at the law firm, Beth and I, that a lot of it was how we were delivering information and how we were requesting it back. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of automation available. So now that map can be fixed, that path and workflow, to really spoon feed your clients. I always like to say, and I don't mean this derogatory, but you should work with your client like they're a 2-year-old, and they'll direct you if they already are on path, and you can, increase what you're telling them to a higher level. But I always start there because I never want to expect that they're going to know something. And that comes with building your systems as well for the client of what they see. It can be a very complex system you can build, but it should look so simple, streamlined, and easy, of everything the client experiences. The other thing is in the emails, this has definitely changed, and Beth touched on this, is not writing 2, 3, 4 page emails. Your confirmation email for your consultation, I still see some firms that have these long emails or letters that go out saying, here's what to expect, here's what we're going to talk about. And those are fine, having those things, but you need to cut out about 4 sentences for every
Mm.
five that you have on there. Because in website development, which is something I do a lot of for us, the top of your website is called the fold. That's the very first thing you see when the page loads. And every website designer, engineer, anything like that knows you have 3 seconds to capture that person's attention, um, or you definitely decrease your chances that they're going to scroll through your website and look at things. And it's the same with emails. It needs to deliver the information they need right at the top, very clean. Here's your appointment. Here's the date. Here's where it is. Here's the homework. And then maybe here's what to expect in the conference room. But you need to grab them instantly, or they're not going to read that. And they're also not going to read a 2, 3, 4 page email of you just talking about your firm and this and that. They're not going to read it. So it's really a waste of you even trying to write it. People just want the information that they need at that time. So just be strategic in what information you're sending when and how it's said. And when you're preparing templates that'll auto generate emails to send and whatnot, write them and then use the rule. I always go through and for every sentence, you ask yourself, is this helpful? Is this neutral? Or is this actually harmful to what's being said? Does it distract? Anything that's distracting, get rid of those sentences. If it's neutral, most of the time you can get rid of it and just condense your emails and documents. AI is a great way to do that. Don't just copy and paste from AI, but it can definitely narrow down of what's important and what's not and what the client wants to see. So that your emails are being read and you'll see that people start opening your emails again. Also deliver things by text. You definitely want to be doing that, and don't make text into emails. Your text needs to be a text. Brief, short, here's what you do. So that's my only comments on this, that I see a lot that really does harm the signature client experience and delays clients actually doing things to get things back.
Right. And a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is because we are handling a shift in clients. You're in specifically talking about estate planning here. For a long time, the majority of estate planning clients that you were coming in and talking to were boomers. Okay. They, in general, and I'm being very general here, um, they'll sit down and read a 3-page email. Like that's fine to them. Now you're moving into Gen X is doing their estate planning. You're soon moving into millennials doing their estate planning. We don't do that. Like, we're like, just give us the information. We want to see it. We want to see it quick. We want to know what's going on, and that's it. And we have busy lives, and we don't want to read a three-page email. And that's a very big generalization on people because, believe me, there are some that will still do that. But this can work for both because you can give them the information at the top, like John said, above the fold. Give them that information. That's the stuff that they need. And then you can go and expound on that and explain stuff further out in the email. And if they want to read that, they will. Things that you really want to hit home to them should be first and use bullet points so they can see that very distinct break. Here is information, and not just a story. Because a lot of people view a paragraph as a story, and we don't want it to be a story. We want it to be information that we're conveying to them. Hi. Are we ready to see the new toys?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this week, Lawmatics rolled out collections. And this does not mean collections to collect money. Um, I was talking to John earlier this week when they rolled it out, and he's like, "Oh," and then, and then I realized he thought I meant collections as in a collection process to collect money. And that's not what it means. So when we have collections over here, of course it doesn't help. It's right behind billing as well. We have collections here. You can now do multi rows of information. So instead of doing like assets, um, I've seen some people build out like their intake forms and things like that, and they'll have like 30 spaces for people to put their asset information in. And you figure um there's five actual fields for each one. You're talking a lot of places that all this data is. So they've actually took and condensed that. So now here's where they are. Now you can put this on a form to collect that information. So I just built out a really quick funding information form, and here we're gathering funding information. I will tell you right now, this is not the best place to do this. Okay, this is a demonstration. Decision Vault is absolutely the best place to do this. Can tell you that. However, if you are doing it in Lawmatics and you're putting that information in Lawmatics, here's how it works. So if we choose a bank account, it's going to ask the bank name and the account number. So let's just put in here, this is a Wells Fargo account, and the account number is whatever. And the value is 25,000. Okay, and then we can add another. Now I can add real estate. Okay, what's the address? Just putting stuff in there. And what is the value of that real estate? Well, that can be 450,000. Add another zero there. And then we can add another one, and then this is a retirement account. And an account number and their current value of that, which is, let's just say it's 500,000. Okay. And you can submit that, and that'll put that into the matter itself. Now, what does this do in the matter? So what does this look like when it has information in it? Here's what it is. It's almost like a spreadsheet, right? You have all this. Now, you see I have funding instructions and funding complete in here for things that we could add into these. So if I take this and I go, okay, here's a retirement account for DA Davidson. I want to edit this. I want to put my funding instructions in to make the trust the beneficiary. Okay. And I can do all that. And I can go down through here and do all of these things. And then when I get confirmation back, or we've transferred the real estate, now when I get that deed back, I can go, okay, funding's complete. We know it's done. There it is. Now I can see which ones are done, which ones are not. This is a very, very simple, quick put together information about that. Um, the other thing you can do is like annual reviews. This is another use case for it, is annual reviews, that if you have somebody on maintenance and you're doing annual reviews, and yeah, you want to put file notes in there, but you may not want to dig through all the file notes to find all your annual review notes. But you can add that in here. What was the date of that review? Well, I met with them yesterday. What was the result? There's no changes. And I can make a note here of whatever else we talked about. And as we have additional annual reviews, I can just add to that. So I can go into one place and see everywhere they were and what happened and everything else. So this is just different case uses of using collections. They're very easy to use. They're very easy to put on forms. Some questions that I'm going to put out there about this is getting data into there from Decision Vault. I don't know the answer to that yet. I imagine that that would be able to happen at some point, but that's not happening now. Just to let you know that, and I don't know what the plan is for that. Um, you can export this, so we could just quickly export that to a CSV file, which of course opens up in your Excel, and you then have that in a file that you can do whatever you want with, and be able to manipulate that information, put that into something, send it to clients. It is not right now available to be able to pull it into documents. That is on the horizon, but it's not there yet. To be able to put, collection information into a document. So, that's kind of where it is now. This is brand new. It just came out like 3 days ago. So, a lot of the things that are around there are still being built up, but that is in there, and that is a new toy. It's available. The other thing I want to show everybody is in descriptions. So, in the description, John and I were talking about this. Sometimes we'll use this description, firms will use this description to put a lot of information in. Well, when you have a lot of information, um, before, if we had multiple lines and we had, we put their plan type in here and we put their signing date in here and we put, some personal information. Okay, we put all of that stuff in there and we just save it. Now, it like clumps it all together, and now you're like, okay, I got to decide what's what. You can now click this. So keep descriptions expanded for all matters. And now it'll put it in the way you put it, and it'll keep it open like that for all of your matters. So it makes it a little easier to see, nicer to deal with. So those are the two things that are out there and new this week. Okay.
Yep, and I want to reiterate too one more time. We said it a few weeks ago that they announced. I don't have the date on it yet, but if you get the emails from them of upcoming things, they are going to integrate Teams just like they do Zoom. So when
Mhm.
you're scheduling meetings, and it creates all your Zoom links and all that, they are working on integrating Teams now, and that should be released when they release it. I'm not even gonna guess a time, but I'm assuming it's closer than we think because they've announced it. Um, so that's really exciting. A lot of people have asked for that. So we'll keep you apprised when that's released as well, and watch for those update emails that Lawmatics sends out with just awesome updates. They're always working to improve.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go here. So before we wrap this up, just a quick note to anyone watching on YouTube: we always stop the recording and then open it up for a live Q&A. This part is never recorded, just so that people can ask real questions and talk through real situations. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, we do this live every Friday at noon Eastern. It's free, and the link to join is always in the description.